Running your own real estate investment business can be stressful, time-consuming, and difficult to manage. Where do you start? Why go out and try and reinvent the wheel when we have the answer? With our exclusive training program, we will teach you how to free up your time to build your business, develop your goals, learning where to find the money, how to find better deals, keeping track of offers, building a team, and developing a business plan that works for you. We at Real Impact Real Estate Training and Mentoring have all the answers for you. We have several plans to help you get your business to the next level. We have developed the best one-on-one personal training system in the industry. We have a proven structure that has been developed for more than 50 years through the purchase and sales of thousands of homes and commercial properties. We will help you set up and build your real estate investment business. Whether you are new to investing or you are a seasoned professional, we have a plan for you to customize your business to a method that works, is affordable, and fits your budget. With training modules like finding money, finding deals, learning how to get correct comps, building a team, short sales, subject twos, foreclosures, making multiple offers, understanding auctions, REOs, and tax sales, working to build your construction team, and finding sellers and buyers. Find your property management team, plus over 70 additional training modules to choose from. Sit down with us for a one-on-one consulting to see what training plan is best to develop your goals and to build your business by using the 5 M's of investing: mining, money, maintenance, marketing, and management. Wouldn't your life be great if you can live it on your own terms? We help you develop and structure your business to take massive action. Join the Real Impact Real Estate Training today. Change your life today with real estate investing.
Hi there, welcome. This is Roger Pascal, CEO of Real Impact Training Systems. So I really appreciate y'all being here today. If you're new for this call, Real Impact, we improve the quality of people's lives through real estate investing. You know, we have several locations throughout Texas and Oklahoma. Real Impact provides local real estate investors with networking and educational meetings. Our locations are franchises owned and operated by seasoned investors who we call Impact Master Trainers, or IMTs for short. In addition to our monthly meetings and workshops, our IMTs also offer a variety of one-on-one mentoring programs that can help you no matter where you're at in your real estate journey. If you're interested in learning more about our training options, please reach out to one of our IMTs, Impact Master Trainers. Once again, you can find the IMT locations and correct information online, realimpacttraining.com. The link is below. Just click on the locations button in the middle of the screen, and in just a couple of seconds, several of our IMTs will be joining us so you can meet them tonight. One of our primary objectives each Sunday night is to provide you with the opportunity to ask questions about real estate investing. We have a chat button. If you're on YouTube, just click on subscribe, and then a chat box will come up. So with all this, there's no need for you to have to wait till Monday for you to get your information and see where we're at in this business. So with that, we're going to start this meeting off. So if we can start, let's add everybody to this meeting tonight. All right. Karen Maxwell is Impact Plano and Corporate Sales. Renee Toon is Impact Longview, along with her husband, Doug Toon. Tim Lockhart is Impact Wichita Falls and Denton, Texas. And Eric Short is Impact Grand Prairie, South Dallas area over there. So welcome to the show, guys. I'm glad to see y'all.
Happy to be here.
I'm going to do my best not to fall asleep because we had our Thanksgiving dinner today, and I am got lots of food. So I just hope to not nod off on everybody today. So today's meeting, we're going to talk about how to find properties, or how to deal with buying properties that are on auctions or HUDs or other means of essentially auctions, tax auctions, and areas like that. So There we go. Auctions, HUD, mortgage, tax auctions. We're going to kind of go through what our experience has been on that, and maybe a couple of stories of what happens with that. And it may not be as some of the late night infomercials you see on there. I bought this house for 38 cents. That probably is not the case. Texas is a deed state, so if you're in Texas, don't buy lien. You have the gurus that run through and give their pitch about buying tax liens. No, you buy. We're a deed state. When you buy a property, you're gonna buy the property. You don't buy a lien. With that said, so we'll just go down the board here. Karen, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I hope everyone's doing wonderful. We're all getting ready for Thanksgiving. Cowboys won.
Yeah, I heard that. All right.
It was a great game.
All right. Good deal.
We do actually have a question that is not related to auctions, so I'm going to jump into that. Bruce would like to, he says that he's a wholesaler in Tyler looking for a deal. Would this be a good place to look in addition to networking?
Well, and being that I'm in the Tyler area, this we don't really talk about deals on this call, but we do have Impact Lindale and Impact Tyler and Impact Longview in East Texas, and you can find those on Facebook. We also have meetup sites for all three of those locations, and we also have our live meetings once a month. So Impact Lindale Tyler, we meet on the first Tuesday of the month, and Impact Longview, they meet on the second Monday. Is that correct, Renee?
Second Monday.
Okay, second Monday. Good. Okay, I just went blank right there. Yeah.
I just muted.
There you go. So that the best way is to go to our Facebook groups, Impact Longview, Impact Tyler, Impact Lindale, and post your wholesale properties on there if you have one. If you don't, post on there what your wants are. And we'll make sure, Bruce, we'll make sure that you're out there and getting in front of tons of people. We have well over 1,000 investors that are registered on those sites through those 3 sites that we have in East Texas.
Absolutely. Perfect. All right. So I'd like to kind of start with Doug. Doug, do you want to tell us about your experience with the auctions that you attend?
Well, auctions in general it's a real exciting way to sell and buy properties. So when an auction starts, it starts at a low bid and it always goes up. And if people really are interested in the properties, it goes up a lot, and you can really get worked up and go over your low bid, because I always go with a low bid. You can go over your low bid just because you want to beat this other guy out. You don't want him getting your property and so on and so forth. You can't do that. You just have to stick to your guns. If it goes over, it goes over. Most of the time, you're not going to get the property. I get properties because I go all the time, but most of the time you're not going to get a property. Tax sales in specific are it's a good way to get properties if you've got the cash. And that's the thing, is that you have to bring the cashier's check, or some places will take cash that day, usually within a couple of hours. And tax sales are not pennies on the dollar, but it is quarters on the dollar, and you can get some good deals. An example is in White Oak, Texas, which is a really great school district. I surprisingly got a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house for $5,100, which just blew my mind, because I was ready to bid more, of course. But got that house and put another 25 into it. I used private money. The private money person made 10% flat for 2 years, and we sold that property for $103. So we made a killing. paid a lot of taxes, but made a killing. That doesn't happen every day. The next one I bought, it was like 11.6. But I bought lots of properties for other investors as well. And, we're going in with a low bid. We know where we have to stop, and we stop there. Otherwise, so I have here, and I don't know if we can post it again, but I've got some websites that you can go to. These websites are the attorneys that handle most of the tax sales in Texas. Linebarger is one of them. McCrary is another, and Purdue is the smaller one. And these guys handle tax sales all over the state of Texas. They list them. Linebarger has a really neat site that's a map, and so you can pull that up. And I don't really want to go too much further into it, except just to tell you that you need to know what you're doing, or you'll mess up and you really won't have a good day. So take these websites, go practice at them. If you have questions, I've posted you can call me and we can talk about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doug. Renee, what is your experience with the auctions?
Well, I love going to the auction. I know some people say that they're terrified of going and they don't know what's going to happen, but I just encourage anybody that's curious about it to go out there and check it out. In fact, you find that there's a lot of people there standing around watching and looking and learning and trying to figure out, hey, maybe I could do this too. But there's several reasons that I find the courthouse steps to be very beneficial to me each time I go. And of course, as an IMT with Real Impact, I'm always keeping ears and eyes open for people who might want to connect with our group in Longview. That's a great thing. But the average investor out there doesn't have a group that they're trying to point people to. So what you ought to keep in mind while you're at those auctions is watch the people who are doing the bidding. They've got money. They're interested in buying. And that can fall on both sides of the fence because you're looking for buyers sometimes in your deals, and you're looking for lenders sometimes in your deals. So you very possibly could find a private lender at a tax sale, which would be a great thing. So just learn from people and ask some questions. And a real easy one is, hey, what brought you to tax sale today? Start there and see where it goes. It might go to, I'm an investor and I'm looking to buy, or I'm looking for a cheap house, or I was just curious. I mean, you don't know what the answer is.
None of your business.
Just start with a question. Or none of your business. Yeah, and you can kind of tell where some of those people are. You meet some really neat, interesting people. So I just encourage you to step out of your comfort zone, ask a few questions, surprise where it takes you.
Excellent.
Very good. Thank you so much. All right. I think Tim is next. Tim?
Yeah, so
What do you have for us?
I bought several HUD houses, which is an auction, even though those properties are all listed on the multiple listing service on the MLS, and they're listed by agents. And it's still an auction because they collect all the offers and then they review them on a specific day. And if you call up a realtor and ask them if they're a HUD specialist, I pretty much guarantee you they're going to say yes, because every realtor says they're an expert in everything. However, most are not. And so it's really important to find a HUD specialist. And it's really great if you can have somebody who wakes up every day and the first thing they do is they check the HUD site for listings in your area. And even though I'm a realtor, I actually have somebody in my office that does that And from time to time, he'll call me or send me an email and say, "Congratulations, you bought a house today."
Yay.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting to buy a house today. So the first thing is to find an agent that is registered with HUD, and not just that, but they are frequently bidding on houses, especially in your area. And then the next thing is to stick to your numbers. And just like Doug said about knowing what the limit is when you're at the live auction, it's the same thing with houses on the MLS and HUD. They will get either a full appraisal, or they'll get a BPO, a broker's price opinion, and that's it's supposed to be an as-is evaluation or number, but it's frequently pretty close to the retail number. And so if you're trying to buy that as an investor, then when they first list it, it's probably not going to be close enough to your number to actually win. The first several days, about 2 weeks of the listing, they're only accepting owner-occupant list offers. They're not accepting investor offers. And so the best houses go for the highest price there. But then after that, if no one has bought it, then it'll open up to investors. And the HUD has a formula of how close to that appraisal value that they're going to accept. But what I found is that my purchase price, my maximum allowable offer, is frequently significantly lower than what they're willing to accept. And I bought several HUD houses, but often the houses go under contract from somebody else, and then they fall out of contract, and then I resubmit my original offer, and then that's when I'll get the house at my price. So don't be too anxious to get a house. It's much better to get a house at a good deal, and often the best deal is the house you didn't buy.
Amen to that.
Absolutely. So, Tim, you mentioned something on there that I've run across multiple times where, not all HUD properties are available to investors. A lot of them are carved off, or most of them are carved off for the first 10 days or more for the owner occupant, for the person that wants to buy that house to live in. And I just want to make sure people know that don't lie. There was a young lady, and her best friend was a realtor in Fort Worth years ago, and they were buying houses like they were going to, like the investor was going to live in each one of them. And HUD tracks everything by a social security number. So they both got to have the pleasure of working for the federal government for a while and living in a gated community, if you know what I'm talking about. But they got in a lot of trouble because they were buying a lot of houses and lying on there saying they were going to live in the house, or one of them going to live in the house. So be careful of that.
That you have to live in the house for a year, and it cannot be rented for a year. Right.
I believe you're right. I have not looked at the regulations lately.
Sure.
Yeah. So be careful of that. And Tim, you hit the nail on the head talking about realtors. Not all realtors. A lot of realtors don't even know they have to be registered with HUD to be able to bid on HUD houses, and they don't know how it works and that type of deal. So there you go. But HUD houses can be a wonderful place to find properties if you know what you're looking for. They also aren't real good at working with investors as far as making the investor they don't really give you a time period to inspect. So you better know the house before you put an offer on it. You know.
Oh, speaking about that, so often the houses that I buy from HUD have been vacant for a long time. Um, 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 my most recent one, it was vacant for 2 years because when I went to turn the water on, they said, "Wow, the water hasn't been turned on in this house in 2 years." So, when you buy them, you can inspect them, but there's no power and there's no water, and they won't let you turn the water on because they've already winterized it. You could probably turn the power on, but if there's no water, there's really, I guess you could check the air conditioner and the heating if it's electric, but there could be surprises, and so make sure you build in contingency for things not working that you might otherwise expect to work.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I've worked with a ton of investors that, HUD will give you an inspection report, but it's worthless in my opinion. I've seen too many of them that are incorrect, and it will say that the AC is working great on the report, and you look and there's no AC unit. It's been ripped out, and you can tell it's been ripped out a long time. So just be very cautious. You want to make sure you're in that property before you bid on that property, because like Tim said, there probably will be surprises on some of those properties. All right, so let me jump on to the next slide here. So we've got this. You've got to be prepared for auctions. We're going to have Eric talk about some live auctions in a minute, but if they will eventually start having these live auctions back in the hotel rooms again. And there's various things you need to do on that. You need to register. You need to have a pre-qual letter. A lot of times they'll have you where you can register on site if it's a big auction, like with Wells Fargo or something, if you need financing. But there's going to be a ton of people in there that are just bidding on things unseen. They don't have money. They don't have an access to money. And you'll see that same property come up on those live auctions multiple times. So you want to make sure your ducks are in a row. And if you want a property really bad, you need to go to even if it sells to somebody else or somebody else wins the bid. And this is on live auctions, not HUD auctions, and not tax auctions, and not courthouse foreclosure auctions. This is like where auction.com or Williams & Williams, one of those outfits will have a ballroom in a hotel, and they're just auctioning off houses all day long. And you just want to make sure you have everything there. But if you have a property that you're really interested in, you want to make sure you go to them and say, I want to be a registered backup bidder on this property. And if the first one falls out, I want to be out there. I want you to notify me and let me know. I had one for a client. It wasn't my personal, but I was bidding for a client or with him. And all those auctions, by the way, a realtor can represent you, and it doesn't cost you a dime. And it's always good to have a realtor in your court that can kind of help you with any documents that the title company needs or that auction company needs or something. But my client, we registered him for a particular property, and literally about 6 months later, I get a call, and it's on one of our very infrequent Texas snow days. And my client, they said, put another bid in, and he was the only one they could reach. Nobody else answered their call, and he got that property much lower than what it was even being bid on at the auction. And so you want to make sure you have, you want to make sure you're registered. You want to make sure you have your ducks in a row, your documents in place, your pre-qual letter. It needs to be a legit pre-qual letter at those auctions. And unlike the tax sales that Doug was talking about a while ago, or anything at the courthouse, you can buy these on terms if you have your financing in place. So you want to do that. And we're going to see those come back on board. And never ever trust somebody when they tell you this house is worth $250,000, because it probably isn't. And my experience with some of these auction houses is they really inflate what we call the ARV, which is after repaired value, or the value of the house. They really inflate that for the auction. So you want to make sure that you are very much on top of that. And once again, if you have a realtor in your court, that realtor can help you make sure you have the proper comps for that property. So, and some auctions want you to pay, some of them don't, but most of the time, if it's not a HUD, I mean, if it's not a courthouse auction, they'll give you have the ability to buy those on terms. So with that said, Eric Short, you have bought properties at those big auctions. So tell us about your experience.
Well, funny you should ask. It was in the last millennium. It was in 19.
It's actually your first house you ever bought, wasn't it?
It was the very first house I ever bought. I did not know I was an investor at the time. I thought I was just a band director. And I bought, I was driving the neighborhoods near my high school where I taught, and I saw a sign on a house that was vacant. I went up to it. It used to say, "This is a HUD property, contact X number." And they told about the auction that was going to be happening in a couple of weeks at a local hotel. And that's what I did. I was able to put my, face to the windows and look in and around and check it out and poke my head over the fence. I found a realtor who was a HUD specialist and was able to look inside it. And it all worked out really well. I got pre-qualified, got all my ducks in a row, got all my documents in a row. It was really a cool way to go. It was my very first property I ever bought. I lived in it for 2-3 years. And when I changed high school jobs, moved to a different city, I kept the house and turned it into my first rental. So that was my very first investment rental property. I kept that for several years and several renters. Mostly I rented to a couple that I knew in college and their 4 kids. I rented to someone I didn't know and had to vet their background, and it worked out really well. And then when I finally moved way across the state, I was too far away to really take care of the house myself. And so I sold it. And like Doug said, it's not pennies on the dollar, but it was quarters on the dollar. I remember the auction, going to the hotel thinking, this is really strange. I had never been to an auction for homes before. I'd been to antique auctions and other things where you go in with a truck and you come home with a full truck. And it was a great big convention kind of setting. And they had a slide up on the projector and said, next property is 123 Main Street. We have bids. And before the whole thing started, of course, you have to show up early, just like at the courthouse steps. But it's really an interesting thing. And like Roger said, I've heard that they're going to be coming back. It's very exciting, especially if you know more about the property. Like he said, some people just go to bid. They don't have money. They just want to be there for the atmosphere of it. But if you're serious and you do the homework and check out the properties you want to bid on, mine was in the category of owner occupant, but because it was my first one. But the other ones, like they said, if they've gone past the 10 days of owner occupant over to investment, it becomes a very cool. I have my own soundtrack. It becomes a very cool environment and situation. So I'm looking forward to more and more in that environment.
All right, good deal. All right, Karen.
Well, I was making some notes after everything that you guys were all saying, and I wanted to kind of wrap it up with this. Always run your own numbers. Don't trust anyone else's. That's true whether you're going to an auction or whether you're doing an REO or you're just making an offer, to a motivated seller. Always run your own numbers. Don't trust anyone else. And what Tim said about if you're buying a property that doesn't have utilities on, you probably want to consider the worst case scenario. Whenever you're estimating your rehab, you want to consider there might maybe if there's not a central air and heat unit, then you're going to have to replace that. But if you don't know if the electrical works, consider the fact that you may have to replace that, and you maybe have to replace all the plumbing. If you can't verify it, then go ahead and mark that down as something that you might have to replace. And if you end up not having to replace it, guess what? You save some money. But it's always better to have that surprise than to have the other surprise where you say, oh no, I didn't know I was going to have to replace the entire electrical in the property. And then to buy off your numbers. Tim and Doug both said that, things can get a little heated and you can kind of let your ego get in the way and you want to really beat that person or you really want that house. And the next thing you know, if you bid more than your maximum workable offer or the maximum that you can bid in order to win and still make a profit, then you can find yourself in kind of a sticky situation. So always buy off your numbers, run your numbers, and overestimate those repairs. So thank you guys for all that. Appreciate all that.
All right.
One more thing about the I see on the screen here it says know how to identify your property.
Mm-hmm.
When you're looking at the bid sheet while you're bidding on any of these things, you need to make sure you know which one you're bidding on.
Mm-hmm.
I like to have somebody right there at my elbow looking at it also saying, don't bid on that property. So I don't get the wrong one, because you can do that. You're looking at it and you convinced that's it, and it's not it. So everybody needs to know what's going on.
Absolutely. And
yeah, Doug, and you remember one time we had a situation where sorry, Karen.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
One time we were at an auction, we had a situation where we knew ours was like number 69 down at the bottom. And between like number 5 and number 68, those were all mineral rights. And they said, we're just going to skip all those. We're jumping to 69. We thought we had a lot more time before they got to that one. And because we were bidding for somebody else, and it was kind of a moment. So yeah, you just make sure you know exactly your property and the number and the whole 9 yards, because you don't want to bid on the wrong one. And I've heard people at auctions say things like, what number are you on? And they've just said, we're on number 31, but the person wasn't paying attention. So you got to listen. You got to pay close attention.
Right. And like, I know that one thing that y'all always suggested is to drive by that house.
Oh yeah.
To make sure there's still a house there, or that there
Yes.
is a house there. Cities tear down houses all the time. So, anyway, that's
Yep.
those were some good points that you guys taught me whenever I went with y'all to the Marshall one. So thank y'all for letting me tag along on that.
Anytime.
All right. Next slide. Karen, you want to take this, or Doug, we want to talk about tax sales?
Well,
You've already talked about some, but let's talk about the difference between tax sales and mortgage sales.
okay. The mortgage sales are we call them foreclosures. They're generally either right before or right after or during the tax sale. The tax sale is going to be going a long time, generally, if there's not just but a couple of properties. But the foreclosure sales, they're done and over with pretty quickly, because they're usually only have a couple of properties. But you can tell the difference. So if you're wanting to bid on a tax sale in Texas, like Roger was saying, these are tax deeds. These are not the liens. Matter of fact, I don't want somebody else's lien. I want the deed. I want to be able to use the house. And the difference is that the person conducting the sale for a tax sale has a gun and a badge. The one doing the mortgage sales, they have a suit and a tie. So, you need to know the difference, and you need to know what you're bidding on. A lot of people bid on the foreclosures, I think a lot of them bid on them beforehand. Also, I think they start at a different number than what's owed, but I don't know a whole lot about the mortgage sales. I just know the tax sales, and
Well,
I know
and
the
I'll talk
difference.
about the mortgage sales because I get involved in that often. But yeah, and that's valuable information there because tax sales are pretty final. Mortgage sales may not be, so you need to be very aware of those. So tax sales, as Doug was saying, you got to know the properties. You got to know which auction you're going to be at. Sometimes they're side by side. You got two, three, four, five different auctioneers doing auctions at the same time. It's not like what you see on TV. Somebody's got a big gavel. In some of the counties, all counties are different on how they do that. But for the most part, well, for all of it, all the courthouse sales are always done on the first Tuesday first Tuesday of the month. On every county in Texas that have sales. Not every county in Texas has sales every month, but it is never going to be on a different day. It is always going to be on that first Tuesday of the month. Unless that first Tuesday falls on New Year's Day or 4th of July or some holiday,
Right.
And then it will be the next day. And they just started that like a year ago, right, Doug?
Yeah, no, that hadn't been for long, but
yeah.
Usually they just cancel them for holidays.
There you go. There you go. Well, it depends on the county. So you got the big counties, Dallas, Dallas, Tarrant, Bear, Harris County. Those are very large, and I think Harris County actually has multiple auctions and multiple sub courthouses, don't they?
Yeah, because they have several districts. So.
Right. There you go. So
at least 5 locations.
Wow, that's crazy. So let me talk about mortgage sales because I've got a property that I'm involved in, working with an investor client, and we were gonna buy this property, or they're gonna buy this property as a short sale. Well, it had 3 liens on the property. It had the primary mortgage lien, which comes in first. Now, first of all, tax sales always trump everything. So taxes don't go away. And death and taxes are a sure thing in life. And so on this particular property, there was a mortgage on that property. And then the owner of that property went out and got a HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit. And that was with Bank of America. And so they had a HELOC out there that owner of that property wasn't paying either one of those. And then they had an IRS lien on that property. IRS liens are something different. IRS doesn't really want to own a property. They want any equity that may come from that property that they're going to step in and take that before it goes to the seller. Well, on this particular property, the second lien, which was a HELOC from Bank of America decided to sell that on the courthouse steps and as a mortgage foreclosure sale. And you got to understand if that lien on that property, that the second is taking place, and you buy that, it is not ever going to be worth more than what you paid for it, or what they were asking for. Not what you paid for it, but what they were asking. So if they have a lien out there, in this case, let's say I think it was about $45,000. If you pay more than $45,000 and you try to collect it, you're only going to be able to collect as a lien the $45,000. So most people offer less on those particular ones. The bank will ask more because there may be somebody out there that gives this. But this particular property that I was working with the sellers, somebody came in and they thought, they didn't do the research, they didn't have an education, and they thought that was the primary mortgage. Don't just trust what you see on whatever paper that you get. You've got to dig into that and find out, is this the second or first mortgage on that? You won't have that on tax sales in most cases, but there are taxing entities out there that may not cover all of them, but it won't, a tax sale, all mortgages go away. All other liens go away on the tax sale. On the mortgage sale, the tax liens don't go away. So in this case, he went out, he bought that $45,000 second lien on that property, did not give him ownership of that property, and he paid $190,000 for that second lien.
Ouch.
and the first lien stayed with it. And then now, being he paid over on that, Bank of America carved out the amount for the IRS, and they paid off the IRS. And he now owns a second lien on that property, and that property still has the first lien on it. So for him to actually own that property, he has to pay off that first lien. On that particular house, on a good day, that house is worth about $175,000 in good condition. And that particular house had gone through what we call down here in Texas our Snowmageddon that we had a couple of years ago, where it got unseasonably cold and a lot of pipes burst in Texas. And this particular house is missing a lot of the sheetrock in the house up to about 4 feet tall. So they went in, and she had no insurance on the house when that happened. So long story short, an individual went out there, bought a second lien on the property, does not control the property, does not own the property. All he has out there, he paid $190,000 or thereabouts. And the most he can ever collect off that lien is going to be the original amount of that lien, which I believe is about $45,000. So be very careful, be educated when you go to the courthouse to buy properties off the courthouse steps, because it can come out and bite you in the rear. And these, where you see something at the courthouse steps and it's being auctioned off for $5,000, you really want to make sure you know what you're buying. You could be buying an HOA lien. You could be buying a plumber's, lien or something on that property. So you got to make sure you absolutely understand what you're buying, or you're going to get yourself in trouble. I've had this happen before. This is the second time that particular thing happened, where the other time the guy bought the second lien, and he called me several times because I had the house listed as a short sale, and he called me several times wanting to know what he could do to get his money back. In both of these cases, those people borrowed money from other people, and now they owe money to somebody else, and went down to the courthouse steps thinking they could buy those properties. And both of those were on mortgage sales, not on tax sales. So be careful what you're buying. Understand what you're buying out there.
There you go.
All right. I just want to put that in.
I want to comment or read Richard's comment. Richard says, tax sales are great, but just remember there's always a redemption period. And don't go crazy on the rehab, because you need to replace like with like, and only if it's needed to be bring it up to code. Doug, am I correct? If the house was homesteaded, then they have 2 years to come back and redeem their
Correct.
Back, basically?
Yeah, they can redeem it during the first year. They have to pay you what you paid for it, plus 25%. And he's right. Don't overdo the rehab. But what I do is I usually always get a full-blown inspection. And if the inspector says that the roof is bad, I have to do the roof. If the inspector says the floor is bad, I have to do the floor. So whatever the inspector says is what I'm going to do in order to keep and protect that home. I'm going to use it to rent for the 2 years that we're going to have to hold it anyway. So I'm not going to sell it right away. And the other redemption period, if it's not homesteaded, or has any other of the, what do you call those?
Exemptions.
Exemptions, yeah. Then it's 180 days. However, you usually will not be able to get a title insurance to sell that property, even if it's not homesteaded. All the title companies are going to look at you and say, no. We're waiting 2 years, and some of them will say 4. So
yeah, you just ran into that last week, didn't you, Doug? On the 4-year thing.
Yep, sure did.
So, and all title companies aren't the same. Some may go with 2 years, but some may go with 4. So out there, and one other thing in there that to reiterate what Doug said and what Richard kind of alluded to here is when you do something to that house, you can't upgrade. You can't go like from Formica to granite countertops and get reimbursed if they do the redemption. But if it needs a roof and it's on that inspection report, you put a roof on there. If they go to redeem it, the redemption, they have to pay you back for the roof, right?
Yep.
Okay. Good deal.
Correct.
All right. Good deal.
And
All right.
I don't know if it was mentioned, but it's 25% above the amount that you, the purchaser, paid for the house at the tax
Right.
sale.
And another
That's the
25%
first
on the
year.
second
This
year, right?
is 50%.
Yeah. And the next year is
50%
another
on the
25.
second year.
Yeah.
And
Good
you know,
deal.
Roger, when we were dealing with that situation where this one title company said, you know, no, we require a 4-year time period to pass to get you a clear title to sell that property. I was really glad we had more than one title company to choose from. So I always have a backup in place just in case.
All right. Karen?
I think that's about it. We
Well,
don't have.
do we have
sorry.
another slide?
We talked about the on-site auctions. Eric talked about that.
Yep.
And yes, I want to say this: everywhere is a great place to network. Whether it's an auction, whether it's a real estate investor meeting. Bruce, I'm sure Doug and Renee and Roger would all love to have you attend their local meetings there in Longview, Tyler, and Lindale. Well, Longview and Lindale. And I will even turn my sellers, my non-motivated sellers, into buyers if they turn out to be investors that have a portfolio and they get huffy because I'm trying to buy their rental property. I just ask them if they'd like to sell another property. So always take advantage of networking. Always.
All right. Good
Do we
deal.
have another slide, CJ?
No, I think we just have the 15-minute call here.
Okay.
And if you're interested in knowing more about what we do, this is not a sales call. We're not going to give you a hard pressure or anything like that. But we want you to know what we do and how this works for us. And we'd love to set up a 15, 30-minute call, whatever it takes, just to talk about your business and talk about what you're doing. And are you prepared for the upcoming onslaught of distressed properties out there? Some of them are going to be auctions like what we talked about tonight. Some of them are going to be other forms of sales. People work off emotion. And if they think bad things are going to happen, they're going to be wanting to take that pressure off their life. And it may be a rent house. It may be their personal home. They need to move into something a little less expensive, less monthly payments or something like that. So feel free to reach out to us. It's realimpacttraining.com, or the QR code right there will get you right to us. Hit the contact us tab on that page and let us know if you'd like to have a call. And then we would be glad to talk to you and talk to you more about your business. And then to wrap it up, we have a couple of big events coming up in a couple of weeks. All right. So I will be holding a subject to all-day training. We have 2 of them. We have one in Hurst and we have one in Addison. So the one in Hurst is on December 10th, which is on the second Saturday of December. And the one in Addison is going to be on December the 17th, the third Saturday in December. These events start at 8:30 in the morning and we wrap it up around 5. And it is a very intense training. So that you're going to find that on realimpactevents.com. And it's the early bird price. And we sell out of these. We've sold out the last 3 that we've done have been totally sold out. And so the early bird price on that is $349 for yourself. And you can bring a friend for $149. You can't, that $149 only goes for one person. So, so for under $500, you and a friend can come and go to the all-day training. And CJ, if you could throw up Tommy's video real quick and give a little example of what we run into at these. So Tommy, why don't you go on?
All right. Thank you. Can everybody hear me? All right. So I knew nothing about real estate in November of 2017. And I took a class, learned a little bit of the basics. Didn't know how to acquire a property. Like most of y'all, I thought, gosh, I have a little bit of money, but this is kind of tough. Where do I even begin, right? So I discovered Roger in 2018 and took his subject to class. I think it was in Fort Worth. And it was pretty cool, right? I mean, everything you're learning, you guys are just at the beginning of the class today, but halfway through the day, I started realizing, wow, there's really, really something to this. So I went out and I aggressively found the attorney, found the CPA, did my marketing. And that's actually when Facebook was actually working for marketing. And so my
Uh-oh. There we go.
starting
So we got cut off
summer
there.
2018
Oh, there we go.
until summer 2019, we acquired 26 properties with subject to in 1 year.
All right. So that is a strong testimonial. We're going to be in both the Fort Worth area and the Dallas area. Fort Worth area on December the 10th, Dallas area on December the 17th. This is exciting. I love doing these events because it is just phenomenal to see the results that we get, the people that come to these events and the results they get. So you're going to get an all-day training. You're going to get my subject to book that I've written about subject twos. You're going to get a workbook that is a step-by-step guide working through there. You're going to get a thumb drive on there with dozens of documents and worksheets and other means on there and more. And it's a networking opportunity. What's that, Karen?
And lunch.
And lunch. There'll be lunch in there too, and morning snacks and afternoon snacks and stuff like that. But this is a great way for you to get prepared for buying these properties. And, you know, I don't plan on doing another one of these in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for at least a year. It might be 2 years. It just depends on where we're at with that, where we're at with my schedule. But this is a phenomenal way to find properties. Tommy that just gave that testimonial is just, he's a super guy. I really don't know him that well. I've only met him a couple of times at these events, and he has just done a phenomenal job. So he came back to take a second class on this because he wanted his daughter and his son-in-law involved in his business and knowing more about how to go out and find the sellers, how to deal with the due on sale clause, how to deal with your insurance, how to do wraps and do them legally in Texas with the SB 49 out there looming over your shoulder, and just essentially how to talk to people. And what's amazing about this particular class that we do is how many people that come to this class pick up properties in the next week or 2 weeks, and it's like, we just figured out how to do it. We just figured out that we're listening different to people. And we didn't know that those same people were telling us they were in distress before the class, but after the class, we heard that happen. So when I first learned my testimonial, when I first learned about subject to, I went out of state and I went to actually a 2-day course on sub 2. And when I got back, we got back on Sunday morning. At Sunday about 3:00 in the afternoon, I had a guy call me up and he says, "Hey, don't you do this subject to thing?" And I said, "Absolutely." And he came to my office and I picked up 4 properties the day I got back. And it's just because when I'm there, when I was out of town, I was calling all my contacts and saying, "Hey, if you know anybody that's looking to just move a property and maybe they don't want it in the MLS, or maybe they don't have enough equity to sell it through a realtor, or maybe they don't have the money or the know-how to do the repairs, just let me know." And literally I picked up 4 houses. With that, picked up over $100,000 in equity on those 4 houses. They were all cash flowing. There was nothing wrong with the houses. They were in immaculate shape, but the seller decided that he did not want to be in the rental business anymore. And it was just a phenomenal process that I was able to pick up those 4 properties and did very well out of those 4 properties. So with that, we would love to have you.
I want to bring up one more thing.
Oh, yes.
Listen, these tickets, there are only a certain number available at each location for each of these days. So if you can only attend the December the 10th meeting, you can't attend the December 17th. You want to make sure you get signed up early before all those tickets sell out. If you can only come to the December 17th meeting, you want to make sure you get signed up for the December 17th meeting before those tickets sell out, because we won't have any overflow. I hope that makes sense. So if you're flexible and you can go to either one, then, by all means, take your chance. But if you have one that you specifically want to go to, maybe because of the location or the date, make sure that you get in and get signed up. Go to realimpactevents.com and get your tickets paid for. And that way you'll make sure that you're able to go to the one that you need to go to.
Absolutely. So yeah, you want to, you can only go to one for the price. So if you want to go to both of them, you're going to pay for going to both of them. We totally expect to sell out. The tickets are selling rapidly right now. And we will be limited on the rooms that we're in, and there will not be, in most cases, there won't be a situation or a choice for you to buy a ticket at the door. And if you do, it's going to be higher because we had to pay a premium for the meals, and they just go up crazy higher if we don't give them a 2-week notice on the meals. So get on there, get registered, network. You're gonna meet lifelong friends. We push the networking really hard at these events, and you're going to learn how to do this. You're going to learn how to fill out contracts. You're going to get copies of all the contracts and all the documents that you need on this. And Karen, aren't we working on a special little project on this?
Yes, I've actually, a lot of y'all know that I do. I'm an automation expert, so I build custom CRMs. And I'm actually building workspaces for anyone that wants to. At that time, we'll have our offer at that time, but we're going to make it to where you can literally go in and fill out a form. You have your seller fill out the form as much as they can, and then you're
online, right?
Online. The seller will fill in their information about their loan and personal information, and then you fill out the rest, what your agreement is, push a button, and bam, all your documents are right there for you. So it's going to give you that confidence to know that you didn't forget, oh, I forgot the due on sale clause or whatever. So I'm super excited about that. And I can't wait to share it with everyone.
Karen has put a ton of work into that.
Lots.
And I mean, it is just a phenomenal tool, and you can only get it at this event. Now, if you try to get it outside the event, we may have it available, but it sure won't be the same price.
Nope.
As you can get at the event. So we'll be announcing that at the event, and you'll have access to do as many contracts as you want to do.
You can do 30 deals, 300 deals, I don't care. The more, the better.
Absolutely.
I want to show you the cute little thumb drive. Isn't it so cute?
There you go. There you go. Absolutely. So yeah, we have a phenomenal process here on Sub2. So get there, get to this. So Eric, Tim, Doug, Renee, Karen, thank you all for being on here. CJ, thanks for doing the work behind the scenes and making this come to play. And we look forward to seeing you. We're going to be replay next week. What was that, Karen?
In 2 weeks. We'll see y'all
in 2 weeks. Yeah. We're going to do a replay next week. So we'll still be online next week, but we won't be live. It'll be a replay. And then we'll be back again in 2 weeks. And we look forward to seeing you at that point. Thank you, everybody, for being on here tonight and your great knowledge and making this thing happen. All right. Reach out to us. Call us.
Good night.
Let us know. Go to realimpacttraining.com. Hit contact us, and we'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. See ya. Y'all have a good Thanksgiving.
Bye. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Running your own real estate investment business can be stressful, time-consuming, and difficult to manage. Where do you start? Why go out and try and reinvent the wheel when we have the answer? With our exclusive training program, we will teach you how to free up your time to build your business, develop your goals, learning where to find the money, how to find better deals, keeping track of offers, building a team, and developing a business plan that works for you. We at Real Impact Real Estate Training and Mentoring have all the answers for you. We have several plans to help you get your business to the next level. We have developed the best one-on-one personal training system in the industry. We have a proven structure that has been developed for more than 50 years through the purchase and sales of thousands of homes and commercial properties. We will help you set up and build your real estate investment business, Whether you are new to investing or you are a seasoned professional, we have a plan for you to customize your business to a method that works, is affordable, and fits your budget. With training modules like finding money, finding deals, learning how to get correct comps, building a team, short sales, subject twos, foreclosures, making multiple offers, understanding auctions, REOs, and tax sales, working to build your construction team, and finding sellers and buyers. Find your property management team, plus over 70 additional training modules to choose from. Sit down with us for a one-on-one consulting to see what training plan is best to develop your goals and to build your business by using the 5 M's of investing: mining, money, maintenance, marketing, and management. Wouldn't your life be great if you can live it on your own terms? We help you develop and structure your business to take massive action. Join the Real Impact Real Estate Training today. Change your life today with real estate investing.